Hello, my name is Chris Hayday, and I am the Director of Students and Families here at Desert Hills Presbyterian Church. Well, it's the month of May. That means 5 Sundays, so we are excited about what we have in store for your kiddos here at Desert Hills. We've got 2 different divisions, as most of you know, but if it's your first time seeing me or seeing this, we have the Clubhouse, which is our preschool division. That's 0 through 5 years old. And then we have our Studio 15. That's our elementary division, kindergarten all the way up through 5th grade. If you have students 6th grade through 12th grade, that's the Hangout. That's a different video. That meets Sunday nights at 4 o'clock. But our children's program meets every Sunday during second service, both in the main building and over in the Fellowship Center. So I'm going to start out by talking a little bit about what we are doing this month, all 5 Sundays of May, in the Clubhouse. The Clubhouse theme is all about jumping. It's jump, jump, and I am so excited for our kiddos to get involved in this theme. It's a really cool theme, so check out this video to explain a little bit more about what's happening here at the Clubhouse.
Have you ever thought about how many decisions you make in a day? According to some reports, the average adult makes up to 35,000 choices per day. Wow. Some decisions can be made without hesitation. You choose to tie your shoes, walk out the door, and start your car. Then there are the not so easy decisions. What do we do when the decision is hard and we're struggling to know which way to go? Should I lie or tell the truth? Should I gossip so I can fit in the group? Should I say something mean back to them? Our preschoolers will have to make these choices one day. That's why this month we are teaching them that they can trust going God's way, because God's way is perfect. We'll begin in the garden, like the garden. This is when God introduces us to himself and his perfect plan. We'll explore how perfect everything was, from the flowers and the food that grew to the amazing animals that Adam got to name. God has a way of doing things, and it works out best for us when we choose to trust that God's way is perfect. Week 2, we'll hear the story of Jonah and some of the choices he made. Preschoolers will learn about what happened to Jonah when he decided to go his way instead of going God's way, and how Jonah eventually decided, you know what, God's way is perfect, so I think I'll go God's way now. A man named Naaman will show us what it looks like to have to make a hard decision. You see, Naaman thought things would happen one way, but God had a different way. Fortunately for Naaman, he chose to go God's way, even though it was hard. We want our preschoolers to know they can go God's way when it's hard too, because God's way is perfect. Week 4, we'll hear the story of a young king named Josiah. Not only did he believe that God's way is perfect and choose to go God's way, he told others about God's way too. We want our preschoolers to know that even though they are young, they can tell others that God's way is perfect. We'll wrap up the month with Gideon. Gideon really had to trust that God's way is perfect, especially after he heard God's plan for Gideon to lead the army. Let's just say it was not your typical battle plan. Gideon trusted God because he knew that God's way is perfect. We believe the first step to making wise choices is trusting that God's way is perfect. Our prayer is that we can help make many of the 35,000 choices a day our preschoolers will be making one day a whole lot easier. They will know to jump, jump, and go God's way, because God's way is perfect.
Pretty cool stuff. Again, you can drop your little kiddos off 15 minutes before our second service begins over in the Clubhouse. But now, let's talk about Studio 15, our elementary division. Exciting stuff. We're all about the 5K. Sort of fits in with 5 Sundays. The 5K, Run the Race for God. It's going to be a cool theme, so check out this video. It'll explain everything we're talking about in the month of May.
Race medals. You know, there's something great about getting one of these placed over your neck. Even if you didn't place in the top 3, just finishing a race and being acknowledged for your participation, it's pretty special. After all, this medal doesn't just represent finishing a single race. This medal represents so much more. The initiative to sign up for the race, the hours and hours of practice running around your neighborhood, the commitment to stay with it even when you wanted to quit. Yep, this medal means something. If you want to run a race, you have to practice. And if you want to be good at an instrument, you have to practice. If you want to be an amazing scientist, you have to put the time in. You have to practice. And as we'll learn this month, the same goes for faith. To grow, to mature in our relationship with God, we need to practice our faith. And that practice takes commitment. We define commitment like this: making a plan and putting it into practice. We thought it'd be great to help kids understand that as much as they practice for their sports teams or rehearse for their musicals or study for their schoolwork, it's important to train and practice our faith. That idea is highlighted in our memory verse for the month. In 1 Timothy 4:8, Paul writes, "Training the body has some value, but being godly has value in every way. It promises help for the life you are now living and the life to come." When we commit to practicing our faith and follow through with our plan, it will impact our entire lives. We kick off the month with something else Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians 9:24 and 25 that reminds us that we're training for so much more than a gold medal in a race. As we practice our faith, we're showing the world what it looks like to trust Jesus with our whole lives. Bottom line, keep practicing what matters most. But what matters most? Jesus said that love matters most, love for God and others. We practice what matters most when we have a close relationship with God, but this isn't something that comes naturally to any of us. That's why we need a plan and a way to put that plan into action. And the best place to start is with faith skills. Every so often, we like to come back around and focus on faith skills that kids can practice to help them grow in their faith and know God more. We use 4 words to help us remember them: hear, pray, talk, and live. And for the remainder of May, we'll focus each week on one of these. The first is hear. We want kids to learn how to hear from God as they navigate and personalize what they read in the Bible. We'll highlight this faith skill in week 2 with learning more from Jesus' familiar parable of the wise and foolish builders. At the end of the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus shares that we can have a strong foundation for our lives when we listen to what Jesus says and put it into practice. Bottom line, practice hearing from God. Next is pray. For week 3, we hope kids understand that praying is an important part of growing in their faith. They can pray knowing that God knows them and wants to hear from them. They can pray with gratitude and honesty, pray for their needs and for forgiveness. We also want kids to know that they can pray anytime, anywhere, because God is always listening. That's why we'll look at the way Jesus taught his followers how to pray in the Lord's Prayer. We hope kids will come to believe that they can share anything with God. There's nothing too big or too small for him to handle. Bottom line, practice praying to God. For week 4, we'll focus on talk. We can know God better by talking about him with others, but this isn't just about talking about Jesus with people who don't know him yet. There's another important aspect of talking about God we don't want kids to miss. As kids process their growing faith, they will have questions and doubts. We want kids to know that they can talk about God and work through their questions with others who also believe in Jesus. We'll take a look at the time when Peter declared what he believed about Jesus in front of all the disciples. We can all share our story of faith with confidence, knowing that Jesus is who he said he is. Bottom line, practice talking about God. We'll wrap up this month on commitment with our final word, live. We know that a lot of kids love to sing and worship God, but worship isn't just something we do when we sing at church. Worship is really how we honor God with our whole lives, through how we love others and serve them, how we give of our time and talents, how we obey and praise God, even how we rest. We hope kids realize that they can worship God every day with whatever they're doing, no matter what they have. That's why we're looking at the story of the widow's mite. There were people giving lots of money, but Jesus knew that the 2 coins she gave meant more because they were everything she had. She gave more richly because of the attitude behind her gift. Bottom line, practice living for God. So remember this month, as you unpack these 4 faith skills at large group, small group, FX, and at home, you're giving kids an opportunity to develop skills over time. So when they grow older, they'll understand what it means to be the church and understand how they can hear, pray, talk, and live out their relationship with Jesus Christ. We can't wait to see what God will do in the lives of kids and families this month as we commit to practice our faith and grow in our relationship with God.
What an incredible theme. So excited about running the race and learning the spiritual habits. In fact, that's exactly what we're doing in the middle school and high school this month as well. All about developing habits for spiritual disciplines. And so we are excited about Run the Race. We're excited about what's happening down in the clubhouse as well. Remember, every Sunday morning, second service, we want you to invite other families. That's what it's all about. We want to see your kiddos. We want to see your neighbors, your friends, those you work with, those you go to school with. Every Sunday morning, second service. And you know what? If you can't make it in person, make sure you go to DHPC Kids, our YouTube page, both that page and the one on the main Desert Hills Presbyterian page, and check out the videos, because everything we do live, we put on video for you. So if you miss a Sunday, you're able to check it out. So again, that's May. Looking forward to an incredible month as we head on into summer here at Desert Hills. So until June, my name's Chris, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.